恭请大德圣听，为此法会集一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with the virtue of the compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshe.
无上甚
甚
深
微
微妙
妙
法，
法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。
Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。To my ear, that sound is awful. I don't know. Can you tweak it somehow? It's got a big echo and it's got a hard, sharp edge. I don't know if you have any EQ controls or something. Maybe just less volume, a little quieter. Are you hearing what I'm hearing? It's really sharp, yeah, nasty. So the reason is we are preparing for a big event tomorrow, and we've got a new mixer board, which we're discovering. We're discovering how to work it. Our old mixer board was super, but we'll adapt. We'll get it tamed. Also, I can change the proximity of this to my mouth, which helps a lot. Yeah. Okay, good evening, welcome. Tonight is Saturday, the 26th of August, and we are truly into Virgo, and welcome to our Sutra lecture tonight, the Flower Garland Sutra, the Entering the Dharma Realm chapter, 入法界品. Very grateful to all of the volunteers whose efforts go into putting this online. We have translators in Australia who are making this lecture available in Mandarin, which allows me to speak English only, which means that the thoughts tend to stick together in a line instead of being broken every 5 minutes into a repeated Chinese translation. We also have Vietnamese translators who are busy translating my words into Vietnamese. The microphone's much better. Whatever you did is on the right track. All right. So we will get started tonight. As well as translators, we also have our tech crew whose skill with electronics are making my voice sound much more pleasant to hear, and also putting it out on YouTube and Zoom worldwide. All righty. Glad to see so many friends here in person. Hold on. We want to see here. view, we want to hide the inspector. Enter full screen. There we go. But Mr. Inspector, we don't want you there. All right, here we go. We'll invoke spiritual presence. Namo Da Fang Guan Po Wan Jing Wan Hai O Pu Sa Namo Da Fang Wan Jing Wan Hai O Pu Sa Namo Da Fang Guan Wan Jing Wan Hai O Pu Sa Nam Da Fang Guan Wan Jing Wan Hai O Pu Sa last time. Namo Da Fang Guan Wan Jing Wan Hai O Pu Sa. We will continue by acknowledging country, and we are here on the land the former custodians of which were the Chochenyo Ohlone people. Here they are. We say the Chochenyo Ohlone people practice spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. Today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians of this land, and we, the original storytellers, we offer our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说 Chochenyo Ohlone people 在他们的祖先的土地上修炼着他们与土地和万物的精神联系已有数万年。今天我们承认他们是这些土地的传统监护人和原始讲故事的人，并且向他们过去、现在和新兴的长老们表示敬意，以及主权从违背割让的所有第一民族人民们表示敬意。Please join me in the bell song. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sound that everywhere fills the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传三千劫内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训启发界和平，利益宝他诺厚德。Goody, there we go. All right. On your screen, you're seeing the gathered Sangha. This gathered Sangha was 1987, when this group of distinguished monks came together at City of 10,000 Buddhas. You'll recognize in the front our teacher, Master Shenhua. To his right, to your left, is Master Mingyang, Shangming Xiayang, from Shanghai's Longhua Si and Enming Jiangtang. To Shifu's left, to your right, is Master Zhen Chan from Shanghai's Yufo Si, Jade Buddha Monastery. And in the other monks in the front row, oh my goodness, when contemporary Chinese monks who many of whom are in the back row, interestingly. They were young, 20-year-old, 22-year-old monks then. They are now the Dade, and they look at this front row of monks and they go, oh, 真的老菩萨还在世啊. And go, oh, look, these real bodhisattvas are in the world. Here's somebody you might recognize up in the top there. Not a contemporary Dada. So, all right. So, why did I choose this picture for tonight? It's because this coming Wednesday is a day known on the Chinese Buddhist calendar as Ulambana, Ulampan Qie, Ulampan Fa Hui. This is a Buddhist holiday called Ulambana. Ulambana is a Sanskrit word which means rescuing those who are hanging upside down. In other words, beings who are in the hells. And there are those beings right this minute. And the Buddhist disciple whose name was Madhyayana, Mohamu Jenlan, he has a story that from the time he lived in the world, he was a genuine disciple of the Buddha, of our Buddha. From his time on the planet until now, the events of his life and the decisions that he made and his actions have inspired people, East and West, to this day. The Chinese have praise for what he did, and it's 木莲救母. Madhyayana saved his mother. This story has become an opera. The story has become a Hebei Bangzi, a folk opera in Hebei. It has become Jingxi. It has become multiple movies, novels, stories, manga, comic books, and on, and folklore, because of his priorities. We're going to be talking about that tonight because it happens midweek, the actual day, and at City of 10,000 Buddhas, it will be celebrated tomorrow. Last Sunday night in Ukiah, City of 10,000 Buddhas, I told them the Ulambana story because that was my opportunity. Tomorrow, I would be giving a lecture at City of 10,000 Buddhas, but we have a special event here tomorrow. We have a music performance of local Buddhist musicians. So we're going to be, I encouraged the Sangha at CTDB to tune in tonight to our lecture and get the story again, if they care to. So we're going to do a little bit of the Avatamsaka Sutra, chapter 39, talk about the Bodhisattvas. Tomorrow, actually, also happens to be Great Strength Bodhisattva's birthday. So we have a Great Strength Bodhisattva song that was written by written by Marty, by Dharma Master Heng Chao when he was Heng Chao. And interestingly, until I looked at the calendar, I didn't realize our Sunday school that used to meet on Saturday nights was called 世智学院, Great Strength Academy. It was just our make-up Sunday school on Saturday night, and it happens to fall on Great Strength Bodhisattva's birthday. Perfect. So we're going to sing Marty's song. It's called, what did we call it? The Ballad of Great Strength, I think that's what we call it. The Ballad of Super Strong, that's it. So we'll be singing that tonight. All right, so that's our program, and you're here. This is a super night of storytelling. Oh my goodness. I left out one in my list of things that Great Strength, that Madhyayana's heroism inspired. The nation of Japan every year has a holiday called Obon Matsuri, and it's an entire celebration for the whole nation. Comes out and dances, and special foods, and special songs, and special clothing. And Obon in Japanese is referring to Ulampan. And it's interesting because the culture has shifted Obon's meaning to be something entirely different than the original story. And as I show you these pictures of these dade here, I want to include one more. And that would be this dade. Let me show you his picture. Here he is. This one, right there. Shang Jin Xia Ming, Da He Shang. Jin Ming Fa Shi, sitting next to Shifu. That's Mr. Wu Ming. So here is Jin Ming Fa Shi. Jin Ming Fa Shi was a monk from Malacca, Malaysia. He taught at Qingyunting and Tanxiang Si, I believe, or Xianglin Si. He was an educator. He was an interfaith pioneer, and he was a reformer of Buddhism in Malaysia. He thought that Ulaanbaatar should not get corrupted. He thought its original story about filiality was so good that it deserved to be placed in the national calendar of Malaysia as a religious holiday. He campaigned for that. He wasn't quite successful, but he wrote a number of essays about this topic. And if I'll show you, he's quite a distinguished monk. I really enjoy I got to meet him. Here he is. Look at his virtuous countenance, right? Do Xiang. Here's somebody who would be a monk, right? I'm sure if you could kan xiang, if you could look at his appearance, you go, oh, you're going to be a monk. And his mother would say, oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And he would say, Mom, you'll be happy later. But he turned out to be a great monk. He's an educator like Shifu. He wrote, let's see, I went too quick. He wrote all of these essays. Here they are. Ulampan Zhenyi, reviewed 3 times, collected and reviewed. We're still hoping a translator will take these on and put them into English. There's first there's a sutra, which we're going to cover tonight. Then there's all these separate essays about the power of filiality, repaying parents' kindness, how the Ulaanbaatar Dharmas reformed the Sangha in the Buddhist time, the benefits of practicing the Ulaanbaatar teachings, reforming the corruption of Ulaanbaatar, which not like Japan turned it into Obon Matsuri. Instead, what happened? Chinese culture turned it into Ghost Week, because this is Ghost Month even. So the 15th day of the 7th lunar month in Chinese culture has become Ghost Month and Ghost Week, and you don't go out after dark because ghosts will come. Okay, well, that's almost there. It's still a corruption of the fundamental teachings of Ulaanbaatar, which you'll hear about. We're going to recite the Ulaanbaatar Sutra in English together, a corrected, improved version of the Ulaanbaatar Sutra. All right? that's our program. Let's get started. Where did you go? Let's see here. Okay. I have to go dig in here again. Chapter 39. There we go. Aha. There we go. Right there. This is where we're going to do one full page of both languages. Okay. I think because you all are so good at reciting, and you've learned how to do it and you kind of enjoy it, we'll go all the way down to the bottom in Chinese, switch over and go all the way down to the bottom in English. So let's see how that works. Okay, can everybody see? Is that clear enough, big enough on the screen? Okay, ready? All right. Those of you who are still working to learn your characters, you can read the romanization at the bottom of each line. Okay, here we go. Ready? 知诸法门，悉皆如幻；一切众生，悉皆如梦；一切如来，悉皆如影；一切言音，悉皆如响；一切诸法，悉皆如化。善能济济殊胜恒愿，智慧圆满清净善巧，心极极静，善入一切总持境界，具三昧力，勇猛无缺，活明智言，诸法界际 continue。到一切法无所得处，修习无涯智慧大海，道至波罗蜜，究竟彼岸，为般若波罗蜜之所摄持，以身同波罗蜜，普入世间。一三昧波罗蜜，得心自在，以不颠倒智，知一切义，以巧分别智，开始法藏，以现了智，训示文辞。Okay. You all noticed how our rhythm broke right there. And you wonder whether one manuscript got spliced there. I didn't check the commentary on that question, but I will to see whether, how does that work? Why is it that we were dum, da, dee, da, 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 da. Suddenly we are 5 characters and 4 characters, 9 instead of 8. So, all right, moving on here. Are we ready? Here's the English. Let's go. They know that all Dharma methods are like illusions, that all beings are like dreams, that all thus come ones are like reflections, that all sounds are like echoes, and that all dharmas are like transformations. They are good at accumulating superior practices and vows. Their wisdom is perfected, pure and skillful. Their minds are still and quiet, adept at entering all states of dharani. They are replete with the power of samadhi and are courageous and dauntless. They have attained the eye of wisdom, and they are at home anywhere within the limits of the Dharma realm. They have reached a state of understanding with nothing left to attain amid all dharmas. They cultivate and practice amid a boundless great ocean of wisdom. They realize the paramita of wisdom, the ultimate other shore, and are gathered in and sustained by prajna paramita. With the paramita of spiritual powers, they enter the world. Relying upon the paramita of samadhi, they attain sovereign tranquility of mind. With wisdom that is not inverted, they know all meanings. With the skillful wisdom of discrimination, they can teach a treasury of Dharma. With the wisdom that makes things apparent and easy to understand, they teach and explain writings and languages. All right. Here we go. What are we talking about? We're talking about bodhisattvas. And we are on the run-up to the arrival of Manjushri, the arrival of Sudana. They're just about to show up. They show up. Let's see, I'm on page 37. You want a preview of coming attractions? Sudana shows up. These are all, they do this, they do this, they do this, describing what bodhisattvas do. They release clouds, they release clouds. Right here. At that time, Bodhisattva Manjushri, relying on the Buddha's spiritual power, wanting to speak further of the deeds of spiritual transformations, contemplated the 10 directions and chanted these verses. Manjushri shows up and starts to chant. And the things that he sings to you, you want to hear. And he goes over, and then light comes out of the Buddha's body. The bodhisattvas pick up that light, and hold on. Times they use methods to teach. We get many of those. And bodhisattvas travel and become teachers. And here's the summary. Bodhisattvas go out to teach. The youth Manjushri came forth from the wholesome abode, accompanied by bodhisattvas, and with him, gods, the dragons, and the eightfold pantheon, they went south towards the realm, toward the world of humans. There it is. That's the moment. Manjushri is down to teach. Shariputra sees him and says, "Oop, I got to go with Manjushri." And 6,000 bhikshus travel with Shariputra, who's their teacher. And following that, Sudana comes forward. Let's see here. Yeah, we get to hear about Manjushri halfway along, which is a big deal. So that's what's coming up. We're still in the preliminaries. We're still hearing about bodhisattvas. And what did we just hear? This passage, when I first read it, I thought, wait a minute, I must be reading the Diamond Sutra, right? All of you readers of Buddhist sutras, you know, there at the very end of the Jingangjing, the Vajra Sutra, it says, if you can recite as much as even a 4-line verse of the Vajra Sutra, all of the bodhisattvas come and protect you your whole life long. You don't have to worry about falling into the hells, the animals, the ghosts forever. All those good things happen. And then it says, just ru meng huan pao ying, ru iche you wei fa, ru meng huan pao ying, ru lu yi ru dian, ying zuo ru shi guan. You should contemplate all conditioned dharmas like this. They are like bubbles, like dreams, like bubbles, like illusions, like dewdrops, like a lightning flash. Meng huan, like meng huan pao ying, ru lu yi ru dian, ru dewdrops and a lightning flash. Contemplate them like this. Okay, that's the famous verse. So it says, everything that you see in the world is what? Over in an instant. A dream. I think I dreamed that I saw it, but I can remember it a little bit, but it's gone. Meng huan, like an illusion. Something that you see on a hot highway. You see the water dancing. No, it's not water. It's just an illusion. Pao, like a light, like a bubble. Gone. Bubble on the foam. Ru ying, like the one I left out of my list was like a reflection in a mirror. You reach out to the mirror and somebody's reaching for you. You see the TikTok videos of puppies seeing themselves or cats seeing themselves in a mirror for the first time, arching their back up. It's just them, right? And they move aside and it's gone. Rulu, like a dewdrop. The sun comes out, the dew is gone. Like a lightning flash, boom, it's gone. Okay? All those images, natural images, are impermanent. They come and they're gone. They're over in a blink. Okay? So that's that wonderful verse from the Vajra Sutra. It says, all of reality, our lives are just like that. Our bodies are just like that. Our relationships are just like that. So that's that famous verse. And then you get to the Avatamsaka Sutra, and look, all dharmas, dharma methods, practices, are like illusions. Beings are like dreams. The Buddhas appear like a reflection. Sounds are just an echo. All dharmas are like a transformation, something that shifts into something else. So it's like, oh, prajna paramita, right here in the Avatamsaka Sutra. So Shifu would say the Avatamsaka is the biggest of sutras, not the longest. The Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra is longer, but it's biggest in that it contains all the Buddha's teachings. The Prajna Paramita Sutra teaches emptiness, one particular dharma, emptiness only. Okay, so there it is. That's so interesting. There it is. I thought, oh, I'm reading the Vajra Sutra. No, that's Avatamsaka Dharma, but it's the emptiness teaching. Furthermore, they collect practices and vows. They've done it all. Their wisdom is perfect, pure and skillful. Their minds are still in quiet. I thought this was good. They enter the states of dharani. What would that be like? For one, they can recite the Shurangama mantra. Anybody here working on their Shurangama mantra, I hope? It's, we had the, even monks are still learning their Shurangama mantra. Dharani is that ability to take ancient sounds. Some people say they're Buddha's old, ancient Buddha language. Maybe so. Dharani. The Toloni, right? The Great Compassion Mantra is a Dharani. When I first set foot, the very first time, set foot in Gold Mountain Monastery, here was the former Bhikshu Heng Kong, Richard Josephson, who as a monk was this awesome 6'3" presence, looking very gaunt and ascetic, and he said, "Can you recite the Great Compassion Mantra?" And I said, "What's the Great Compassion Mantra?" He said, "You should learn it." And I said, "Okay." So I did. Thank you, Richard. I would drive across the Bay Bridge with my yellow ceremony book propped on the steering wheel of my Volvo sedan, and whenever I got to a traffic block, I would bring the book out and Namo Hula Dano Dola Ye. I would memorize it, and it took about a month to learn the Da Bei Cho. So a state of dharani is when you recite that mantra, things change. You really feel things are different. It's mantras sometimes take up a residence in your body, interestingly. You have to memorize it. That's the point. So that you can recite it and then recite it and 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 recite it. And it can kind of turn like a wheel. It moves like water over a rock. And of course, the Shurangama, Shifu encouraged us. He said, you should all memorize the Shurangama mantra. I got a correspondence from a Dharma friend who just came back from China. She says her Dharma buddies in China are all memorizing the Shurangama Sutra, not the mantra only. That the mantra is, takes about, if you go at a normal pace, Namo Sarando Suchedo Ye Allah Hudi Samaya Sambu Doshe, you can do it in about 12 or 13 minutes. If you do it really fast, not recommended, but that's about, say, 12 to 15 minutes of reciting. If you want to recite the Sutra, it's 10 scrolls, 10 long chapters. People are doing that in China. They're taking it seriously, saying we want to keep it alive in the world. We're not waiting until AI causes all the cloud to go blank through some error, right? We don't want the sutras to disappear. We're going to memorize it into our original memory, carbon-based memory. So, states of Dharani, when you can recite those mantras from memory, the 10 small mantras that we do every morning, right? We do the Sharangama, the Great Compassion Mantra, the 10 small mantras. Some of those are considered Toloni, Dharani. So question would be, what's the difference between Dharani, mantras, and true words? You have Toloni, you have Zhou, and you have Zhenyan. The answer is, they come to us down through history. They are designated such. So, can they cross over? Is a Zhou also a Toloni? Yes. Dabe Zhou, Dabe Toloni. The Great Compassion Mantra, the Great Compassion Dharani. 2 names for the same spell, the same set of syllables. It's the study of mantras is an entire other body of learning. And Shifu, Master Xuanhua, brought it to us intact. He personally said that he was responsible for piecing together one of the great functions of the Great Compassion Mantra, which is the 42 hands and eyes. That particular Dharma, that these bodhisattvas were good at accumulating, superior practices and vows. The Great Compassion Mantra, the 42 hands and eyes contains in it selections, short passages from the Great Compassion Mantra. And they have both Zhou and Zhenyan in the 42 hands. So we just learn them. You can question what they're all about, but their sources are lost in the mists of history, for sure. There are scholars who conjecture, but they're difficult to verify one conclusion over another. The best thing, memorize them, learn them, recite them, find out how they work, because they're there to work. Those mantras have purpose. And every sacred text that I know of that has followers to this day begins with sound. In the beginning was the Word, right? And the Word was good, or the Word was with God, depending on how you translate, right? Om is how many of the Vedas begin, or all of them, in fact. And those are sounds designed to create. So if we can learn to keep in mind, to hu chi, to recite the mantras that zong chi, that gather all dharmas together and hold them up, we can discover for ourselves how they work. What are they supposed to do? Recite. Don't take it from me. Okay. Further, replete with the power of samadhi, courageous, dauntless. They can, when you're in samadhi, your body goes crazy. Food is weird. Breathing is weird. Thinking takes a break. It can be scary when samadhi actually happens because things really change. This is not just an idea. And you have to be courageous and know that when your heart is pure, when you're doing it not to show off, not to get over on folks, not to get revenge, none of those shady, dark motives. When you do it to keep the Dharma alive in the world, those states come and go. And there can be equal number of incredibly blissful, wonderful feelings involved in samadhi as well. You have to be courageous and go through them. It's new territory. You have to be a pioneer and travel through it. They've attained the eye of wisdom. They're home anywhere within the limits of the Dharma realm. I love that line. They've reached a state of understanding with Nothing left to attain amid all dharmas. What was the Chinese for that? 修习无涯智, let's see here. 到一切法无所得处. Okay, how does that translate? If we decode that Buddhist language, it means in the marketplace, you're a loser. You're a loser. Why? You don't get anything out of it from the marketplace point of view. But what you get rid of is something the marketplace cannot calculate or tax or ship to you with Amazon Prime. What you get is less affliction, less worry, less trouble, less misery, less sleepless nights, fewer sleepless nights, right? Is that worth it? Money didn't buy that, right? So, nothing to obtain amid all dharmas is from the point of view of people who, I want to get me some, I want to, going to try to go somewhere where I can get some for me, right? So, yep, nothing to attain amid all dharmas. That's real code language. It means when you cultivate, your mind expands, and when it expands, what you discover is there's more emptiness. The emptiness increases. You have more less, more nothing than before. Congratulations. You remember the joke? I'm sure some of you go, oh, here comes his Bhikkhu Bodhi joke. Remember Bhikkhu Bodhi's joke? So we were there at the ordination at Abhayagiri, and Bhikkhu Bodhi was visiting, and to have him there to give a talk to the 3 new monks who were ordaining. What a blessing, what fun for them. So Ajahn Patsano says, Venerable Bodhi, would you please send off our new monks with some kind words? And Bhikkhu Bodhi, in his best Brooklyn accent in English, says, yeah, he says, I can do that. He says, when I was where you are, the 3 of you, he says, I knew I had to go tell my dad that I'd become a monk. And my dad was not going to be happy with that because he wanted me to succeed. He wanted me to become something special in the world. So I went home and I showed up looking like this, and my dad said, look at you, son, you're nothing. You're just nothing. So I told my dad, Dad, in the circles that I travel in, if I said that would be bragging, he said. That's my Bhikkhu Bodhi joke. You grab your Buddhist jokes where you can. There aren't many of them. They cultivate and practice amid a boundless great ocean of wisdom. Now, this is where it broke, where the rhythm changed. 9 words per line. And I wonder if there was a kind of a splicing of texts here. They realize the paramita of wisdom, the ultimate other shore, and they're gathered in and sustained by prajna paramita, the perfect wisdom. Okay, with the paramita of spiritual powers, they enter the world. There is no paramita of spiritual power. Shantong bolo mi me ola. It's not in the traditional 6 or the traditional 10, interestingly. I suspect it's just another name for one that we already know. And then san me bolo mi, that would be chan no, dhyana paramita, I guess. They get sovereign tranquility of mind. Through meditation, through samadhi, they calm their thoughts. And then, these are beautiful. With wisdom that is right side up, not upside down, they know all meanings. They can understand everything. With the skillful wisdom of discrimination, they teach a treasury of Dharma. Whoever wants to learn and however they can learn, that's how they teach. With the wisdom that makes things apparent and easy to understand, they teach and explain writings and languages. CTDB just had our translation seminar, and some of the people here in the room were attending that seminar. and benefiting from it, and bringing their skills to it, making a contribution. Explaining writings and languages, my goodness, what a gift to the world. In a world that is progressively moving, tomorrow is a reunion of Great Strength Academy, as I mentioned, and one of the things that I taught at Great Strength Academy was handwriting. In some places it's called penmanship, in other places it's called handwriting, I guess. Yeah. We learned italic, cursive, 2 kinds of italic. Anybody still keep it up? Anybody who was there? We'll find out tomorrow. No, I lost it. Dharma Master, I stopped practicing. I know. My handwriting is getting a little bit ratty on the edges. But we had a really, really good class textbook, and it by Fred Eager, The Italic Way to Beautiful Handwriting. Excellent handbook that was really fun to learn. And I remember Julia was the best. Julia's handwriting was just outstanding. And I think the twins, Christine and Amanda, I think there was somebody who was just good. Interestingly enough, something I learned from trying to teach this class was that girls develop stability and control of their hands earlier than boys do. Of all the guys in the class, Billy, you weren't part of that handwriting class, were you? You were not, yeah. The girls at age like 12 could actually make the loops and the swirls just right. The guys could not for another year or 2. Who knew? I looked it up, and sure enough, they say girls, as they age, get control of their hands sooner than boys. Who knew? So, then what happened? Well, schools stopped teaching handwriting entirely. They just did away with it. And now, I guess you kind of replaced it with typing, right? When was the last time, I guess we type on computers, okay. But I'm learning, I have fast thumbs, I can do thumbs. But people go, no, we don't type, we speak. We just hit that little, the microphone there. So even that is gone, especially in China. In China, people speak on WeChat, and they speak their messages. So what's going to happen? We just don't do it anymore. If you have to sign your signature, are you still able to write your name? Yeah, kinda. But so interesting that it's gone. And yet, with the wisdom that makes things apparent and easy to understand, they teach and explain writings and languages. Yeah. How valuable is that? Because what if suddenly there was a sunspot or a glitch and electricity went away and we still had to communicate? We go to type on what? There's nothing, no response. So we have to A, B, C, D, E, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just learn over, start over. A whole generation would have forgotten. So, okay, that's our page of the Avatamsaka, moving right along to what? To, not the Ballad of Super Strong, but to this. A brand new, improved translation of the Ulambana Sutra. This sutra is in our yellow book, an early translation. And it has a bunch of what you might call infelicities, a bunch of strange phrasings that as we read it, we thought, wow, English language sutra, good enough. Let's just read it. Now as I look back at that, some of the funny things that we had translated it back in the 70s, and we didn't know. So this was retranslated, and I'm going to invite all of you to join me. It's short, it's brief. And as you read along, read it for information. Get the story. because we're going to retell the story. Ready? Here we go. Sutra of the Buddha's teaching on Ulambana. Thus have I heard. Once the Buddha lived at Shravasti in the garden of the benefactor of orphans and the childless elderly. Mahamadhyayana had just revealed the 6 spiritual powers and wished to take across his father and mother to repay their kindness for raising him. Just then, using his spiritual vision, he contemplated the world and saw that his deceased mother had been reborn among the hungry ghosts. Ooh. Having neither food nor drink, she had become a skeleton covered with skin. Can everybody say this? Mahamadhyayana. Feeling deep pity and sadness, filled a bowl with food and endeavored to give it to his mother. But after she got the bowl, she screened it with her left hand and with her right hand made a fistful of food. Before the food entered her mouth, it turned into burning coals and burned her mouth and tongue. Mahamadhyayana, crying aloud and weeping sorrowfully, ran to the Buddha to tell him what had happened. The Buddha said, "Your mother has created weighty offenses. Her habits are strongly rooted. You alone do not have enough strength to affect the situation. Although your filial cries move heaven and earth, the celestial and terrestrial spirits, the demons, the heterodox believers, Brahmins, and the 4 Deva kings also lack the strength to help. It will take the awe-inspiring spiritual power of the assembled Sangha of the 10 directions to set her free. I'm going to teach you a method now which can lead beings with troubles and worries to leave their misery behind." The Buddha told Madhyayana, "The 15th day of the 7th month is the Pravarana day for the assembled Sangha of the 10 directions. Prepare an offering of clean basins full of flavorful foods and ripe fruits. Make offerings of incense, oil, lamps, candles, beds, and bedding, all of the finest quality, to the virtuous Sangha of the 10 directions who have gathered, and do so for the sake of fathers and mothers of 7 generations past, as well as for fathers and mothers of the present who are in trouble. On that day, gather the Sangha of sages, whether they are in the mountains practicing Chan meditation, or realizing the 4 fruitions of the path, or walking beneath trees, or using the sovereign self-mastery of the 6 psychic powers to teach voice hearers and Pratyeka Buddhas, whether they are 10th stage bodhisattvas appearing as bhikshus, all of these sages, alike in their single-minded focus and complete with pure precepts and ocean-vast virtue, should gather in a great assembly to receive the pravarana food." Okay, continuing here. "If you then make offerings to the Pravarana Sangha, your present father and mother, your parents of 7 generations past, as well as the 6 kinds of close relatives, will leave the 3 paths of suffering, gain liberation, and be clothed and fed. If your parents are still alive, they will enjoy happiness and blessings for 100 years. Parents of 7 generations past will be reborn in the heavens with sovereign self-mastery, experiencing celestial flowers and radiance and limitless happiness. At that time, the Buddha instructed the assembled Sangha of the 10 directions to recite mantras and dedications for the sake of the donors' families. Then, for parents of 7 generations, with minds as still as in Chan meditation, they may accept the food. When they receive the offerings of food, they first set it in front of the Buddha in the stupa. When the assembled Sangha has all gathered, they recite their mantras and make dedications. Only then can they eat the food. At that time, Bhikshu Madhyayana and the assembly of great bodhisattvas were all extremely delighted, and the sound of Madhyayana's sorrowful cries ceased. Then Madhyayana's mother was set free from 1 eon of suffering as a hungry ghost. Madhyayana said to the Buddha, This disciple's parents have received the power of the triple jewels, merit and virtue, and the awe-inspiring spiritual strength of the assembled Sangha. In the future, if Buddha's disciples practice filiality by offering the Ulambana food basins, will they also be able to take across their present fathers and mothers, as well as those of 7 generations past? The Buddha replied, "Excellent. I'm happy you asked that question. I was just going to explain the principle. Good people, suppose bhikshus, bhikshunis, kings, crown princes, lofty ministers, officials, cabinet members, the 100 chiefs, and the tens of thousands of citizens wish to practice compassionate filial conduct for the sake of the parents who bore them, as well as for the sake of fathers and mothers of 7 lives past. On the 15th day of the 7th lunar month, on the day of the Buddha's delight, the day of the Sangha's pravarana, they should place hundreds of flavors of foods in the Ulambana basins and offer them to the pravarana Sangha of the 10 directions. They should vow that their present fathers and mothers' longevity will reach 100 years without illnesses, without sufferings, afflictions, or worries. They should also vow that 7 generations of fathers and mothers will leave the sufferings of the hungry ghosts, be born among humans and gods, and enjoy limitless blessings and happiness." The Buddha told the good men and good women, "Those disciples of the Buddha who cultivate filial practices, when making offerings in thought after thought, should constantly recall their present fathers and mothers, as well as the fathers and mothers of 7 lives past. For their sakes, they should perform the offering of the Ulambana basins to the Buddha and the Sangha, and thus repay the loving kindness of the parents who raised and nourished them." At that time, the bhikshu Madhyayana and the fourfold assembly of disciples, hearing what the Buddha said, practiced it with delight. End of the Sutra of the Buddha's teaching on Ulambana. Okay, good stuff, everybody. We recited the new translation of, the retranslation of the Ulambana Sutra. Dharma Master Jin Yong had a big part in getting this done. We appreciate that. And I think it reads much better. There's a lot of the funny stuff that was in there is no longer there. But the principles survive. And the principles are, look at what we got here. We came up with Ulambana Sutra Dharmas, many principles. And as we bring the Dharma to the West and integrate Asian ways of looking at religion and Western culture, we come on this one, filiality. Saved his mother. That's the one. He didn't forget. His mother died. But you know what? He didn't say, "Okay, moving on." He said, "I wonder where my mother is." And because he had just opened his psychic vision, he could tell. He knew. It says he looked around the world and he saw, Mom's happy. Not. Mom was a ghost living in the house. Miserable. Like miserable, right? Misery upon misery. There are, now, Chinese artists over the years have done their best to depict what that state was like. And I'm going to scare you all now with some of them. Ooh, here's our hero. Here's Madhyayana, according to Chinese artists' depiction of him. Look at that noble, look at his colorful robe. That's interesting too. He looks more Chinese than Indian, but he was an Indian disciple. All right, there he is. Now, Mom, on the other hand, ugh. I know. Enough of that, right? So, okay, I don't want to give you nightmares. This one's a little more compassionate here. Here he is, trying to feed his mom. And there's that vivid moment where the sutra depicts her behaving like a ghost. What does she do? He goes down with his psychic powers, takes the food to his mom and hands it to her, and she says, screens the bowl like this so nobody else can see that she's got some food. Very ghost-like, right? Greedy. She takes a fistful, puts it in her mouth, and instantly her karma turns it into coals and ash, and it burns her mouth. The sutra depicts that. So it's this reality that there's no escaping cause and effect. Now, the deal is, Madhyayana is still related to his mom. What's he going to do? He cries. The sutra describes him as just wailing. Here she is, hungry ghost. He has a shanzhishi, kalyana mitra. He has a good spiritual friend, the Buddha. Mu lian jiu mu. Look at that right there. That's the phrase that arose from this whole sutra that we celebrate. Madhyayana saves his mom. So the point is, even mothers can fall. Cause and effect is true. And we don't want mom to suffer. How could mom suffer? She's good. Well, from the point of view of cause and effect, hard to know. So he wakes up, looks around, wants to repay his mother. His priority was revisiting primary relationships. He realized that in order to get enlightened, you have to have been given a good start. And his parents gave him blessings to allow him to leave home and cultivate the way. So, another principle, benefits that people get from making offerings to the Sangha. The method that the Buddha comes up with. Interestingly, there's this point where the Buddha says, you know what? You don't have enough strength to save your mom, and I don't either, and the gods in heaven don't have either. But if you gather all the monks together, there they are. If you bring the Sangha together and have them cultivate the way, we can pull it off. We can make it work, says the Buddha. Now, the Buddha couldn't save Madhyayana's mother. Of course he could have. But he expediently gave the job to everybody to keep the Sangha together and to create this chain of causation that continues to this day. Now, if this were an ordinary week, we would have tables right in the middle. You'd looking over here and you would see all the toothbrushes. We always get toothbrushes for a lifetime every year. We have a room full of toothbrushes. We're getting AA batteries these days and lots of detergent, things that we need for a year. But you don't see them there now. Why? Because tomorrow night we've got a big event that's going to fill the hall. The tables will go up on Monday, so folks can make offerings. We mentioned that Madhyayana had the Buddha to call on. Buddha came up with this method, very effective. The authority is delegated to the whole Sangha, not one strong monk. That's important. That's how Sangha, how DRBA continues to this day. The Buddha, with his expedient means of telling the lay people to make offerings, then the Sangha will recite on their behalf. This is making preparations for the Sangha's future survival. He says he doesn't have enough strength. The Buddha lowers himself as the ultimate authority. Look at that. That's so interesting. He steps down off the power seat and says, no, but you, together, united, you have the strength. Here's how to make it work. And he even brings in the laity. So the whole community comes together to save Madhyayana. Harmony and cooperation. The power of community. This is the end of the summer rains retreat. All the monks were in one place because during the monsoons in Southeast Asia, people know in Vietnam and China, when it rains, it just pours. Just blankets of water, walls of water coming down out of the sky. If you go walking on the street, you'll squish lots of insects. So the monks stayed home for 3 months, the rains retreat. At the end of the rains retreat is the time when everybody is together and ready to go. Now, interestingly, there's a passage in the sutra where Madhyayana says, oh, that's so wonderful. It worked for my mom. Will it work for everybody's mom? He says. And the Buddha says, good job. You 就说回小向大. You turned from the small to the great. You showed real unselfishness because you wanted to rescue others' moms. He says, yes, it really will. There's teaching in here on psychic powers. And as I mentioned, Chinese culture distorts and popularizes Buddhist legends. Japanese culture did the same. And teachers have said, we want to save this incredible Buddhist story from becoming ghost season, 鬼月. I know there are people in Taipei who will not go out during that month at night because you never know. You might just get grabbed by a ghost. Right? Anybody ever been grabbed by a ghost? You know anybody who's ever been grabbed by it? No, but you never know. You might. So pass the scary story along. We love to be scared. Oh boy. So Buddhist teacher said, not good enough. This is a Buddhist holiday. Can't we get it on the calendar so everybody who is moved by filiality can come together and celebrate Madhyayana? Another important principle is reincarnation. So there will be a future life. We have had past lives. Even moms can fall. The power of dedicating merit, that's implicit in the story. It works because the Sangha recites and dedicates the goodness there. Interesting part on the, when I explained this in, where was I? There were lots of monks, Theravada monks present, so I didn't make this point, that laity are blessing seekers. I don't think, maybe we'll just take that out of there. I don't think that's kind of a swipe at Indian culture. This became a dominant theme in all kinds of Asian media. Now, Qin Chuan and I were in Shijiazhuang one year, and you people remember the Parliament of World's Religions in Salt Lake City. What year was that, Qin Chuan? 2015 or 16? 2015. Went to Salt Lake City. Master Minghai was here from Bailin Si in Shijiazhuang. And his presentation was about the story. Madhyayana saves his mother in all the different illustrations of it, paintings that you just saw some photos. We went to visit him for a summer camp, and he called on a local troupe of theater performing musicians, acrobats, singers, actors, in a form of entertainment called Hebei Bangzi. It's a theater form from the province of Hebei, and they do it best there. And it's a kind of Chinese opera, but it's not, Beijing, Peking opera, Beijing Jingxi, is very stylized, very refined, and lots of makeup. And the Hebei is further west, and the Hebei Bangzi is big on acrobatics. Oh my goodness. The music was just beautiful. And they're all volunteers. This is kind of like a national, a local troupe who just keep it alive because they love it. And they had some modern innovations. There was a kiosk, a vertical kiosk, that ran the text down the kiosk, the moving characters, so you could read what the actors were singing. And that was very nice to be able to see the text, a couple lines of text. They had wonderful sound amplification, so you could really hear it. But the fighting, the martial arts aspect between the ordinary performers was just outstanding. And the actors played multiple roles. So who was the villain in this scene might have been the hero in the next scene. And they kept changing their makeup and their costumes, and it was just superb. And then we got to take pictures with the actors at the end, because we were the guests from America, and that was great fun. So it was just excellent. What was the story? Mu Lian Jiu Mo. Madhyayana saves his mother in Hebei Bangzi style. Oh my gosh, it was just great. So Minghai Fasher really found exactly right something to share with us some of the joys of Chinese traditional culture. But as Minghai explained it, he said this is definitely shared mutually between India and China. This is, what do they say? 处中共共情. It's India and China both celebrate the teaching of filiality. So every year I afflict you all with this. So Madhyayana saves his mother. In the past, there was a respected monk whose name was Madhyayana, who opened his deva eye and saw that his mother, who had already passed away, had a stomach as big as a vat and a mouth as tiny as a pun, and her throat was as thin as a needle. So, stomach like a bass drum, as hungry as an empty drum, but no way to get the food down there. So, constantly suffering hunger. Hungry ghost, 恶鬼, preta. 饥渴难忍. She was thirsty, unbearably thirsty. And 火向口中喷. See, comment from the translator. Okay. Jin Yong Shi says, he didn't write it. Can I share it with him? Yes, I would be happy to send it. We work on it together. We have a great team going. Teamwork. So, 火向口中 怎么念呢? 喷? 分? 喷? Okay. So, mother, mom, 你不信因果, you didn't believe in cause and effect. Who knew that cause and effect was true? So, let's see here. So, mouth like an ashtray, is that what that means? So mom gossiped and slandered. So that was her retribution to be born as a hungry ghost. So, this is just bad habits, and that led you right down into the doors of hell. So, if you're not afraid of the height of the mountain of knives, if you're not afraid of the depth of the river of sorrows, if you don't fear freezing cold of the hells, if you're not afraid of the burning heat of the fires, then your body can be pulverized into bits. So all of those terrible retributions that happen in the hells. So Madhyayana vowed to save his mother, and he put himself down into the flames, the suffering of the hells. He wanted to repay her kindness as his mother. So he borrowed the strength of the 3 jewels and pulled his mother off the wheel of suffering. In the future, his mother will become a Buddha thanks to her son's tireless filiality. So, this is the melody that I learned at Chinese summer school at Middlebury. 昔日有个木莲上，秋木兮因地有嘛。You know, I'm going to mess up my melody trying to find the notes on my mandolin. 秋木起林地满，千万林山有多少路？有10万8千，有余力南无佛，阿弥陀佛。昔日有个木莲上，秋木起林地满，千万岭山有多少路？有10万8千，有余力南无佛，阿弥陀佛。So that's the 佛曲 from our Professor Jamie Pusey, late Jamie Pusey at Middlebury College Summer Language School's Chinese Chorus. Oh boy, that was fun. Where we also learned 我命苦真命苦，一生一世交了好丈夫，人家的丈夫修而又修。No, that's I got it mixed up there. The 丈夫 and the 老婆，人家的老婆修而又修。Never mind, that's okay. I don't want to ruin the memory of Madhgayan. So, we learned a lot of wonderful songs. 东方红，太阳升。起来不远，三民主义。Lots of songs. We covered the Taiwan Straits, both sides. So now, that's Ulaanbaatar, and it is truly, truly a wonderful story. It's one of those stories that just touches the heart, because here's the guy. His mother died. He didn't forget her. His memory of his mother and his care for her went past the grave, right? How many people can say that? And then he found her, and he was able to do something about it. Oh, you know what? This is just not on. Can we get this guy? Yeah. So, won't work, huh? Okay, that was what was... If it's going to squeak, never mind. No wonder we couldn't hear the guitar earlier, so... in memory of Great Strength Bodhisattva, and as a preview for tomorrow, I want people to remember this song written by Marty. My Dharma friends, gather round, I'll sing to you a song. about a bodhisattva whose name was super strong. With a burst of blazing light, he opened eyes asleep and blind. 'Cause super strong's kung fu was the power of his mind. Now super strong was awesome, but his heart was solid kind. Suffering and disasters I'll end for all mankind. Evil and injustice I will find a way to fight. All the Buddhas told him, don't fight, return the light. And the chorus, super strong's inside you, cultivate with all your might. Pure thoughts continue, don't fight, return the light. Throughout the Dharma realm, you can hear great strength proclaim. Six senses gather back, recite the Buddha's name. So he gathered in his stealing eyes, his ears and nose and tongue, tamed his mind and body, and when the work was done, a blinding blaze of light shone forth from toe to crown. 'Cause he plugged into the source, tried his best, and laid it down. Chorus, super strong's inside you, cultivate with all your might. Pure thoughts continue, don't fight, return the light. Throughout the Dharma realm, you can hear great strength proclaim. Six senses gather back, recite the Buddha's name. So he, let's see here, Guan Yin and Amitabha with super strong joined hands. Riding boughs made long ago roam the western land. Now dragons curl their tails and spirits fold their hands. Tigers crouch in corners and ghosts obey command. Ain't no better thing to do than saving all mankind. Come to the Buddha city, bowing with a single mind. The world is ripe and waiting, can't you see that now's the time? To the Buddha city, bowing with a single mind. The world is ripe and waiting, can't you see that now's the time? Come to the Buddha city, bowing with a single mind. One more time. Super strong's inside you, cultivate with all your might. Pure thoughts continue, don't fight, return the light. Throughout the Dharma realm, you can hear great strength proclaim. Six senses gather back, recite the Buddha's name. Throughout the Dharma realm, you can hear great strength proclaim. Six senses gather back, recite the Buddha's name. Now, some people may say, why bother do a good deed for that music? And the answer is because if you do a good deed and look for and go to Dharma radio, you can hear another version of that very same song. It sounds like this. Let's see here. Super strong. That's what we want. Super strong. Hold on here. Maybe if I look for Paramita. Oh, I know. I'll just go out to Apple Music. That's where I'll go, by golly. Go to Apple Music. There it is. And look for... Ah, thank you. Super Strong. Is it Ballad of Super Strong, right? Let's see here. Ballad of Super Strong. Look for that. Or look for Reverend Heng Sure. Or Heng Sure. There we go. There we are. Dharma Radio. Let's see here. Turtle Island Lullaby. Super Strong. Here we go. sounds a little different.
My Dharma friends, gather round, I'll sing to you a song about a bodhisattva whose name was super strong. With a burst of blazing light, he opened eyes asleep and blind. Super strong's Kung Fu was the power of his mind. Now super strong was awesome, but his heart was solid kind. All suffering and disasters.
Okay, I've got the whole band behind me there, so. Okay, so that's available on dharmaradio.org if you do a good deed and ask for the CD called Dharma Radio and get that for free. Actually, it's not free, it's for the price of a good deed. Now, we have some announcements as well, a lot of stuff going on, and I wanted to share with you something that happened today and yesterday, which was I went into Pandora's studio again to record 14 new Guanyin Bodhisattva songs. There they are. Let's see what this is. What you're seeing is Pro Tools on this incredible computer layout with all of the compressors and the de-essers and such goodies here as it's being recorded. There we are. It's in the recording room. And these are the engineers and editors. Homero, Graciela's Didi is there. We put up a Guanyin altar, and these are some of the instruments we used. So this is a big deal for me to receive the kindness of Homero Espinoza to open up Pandora's recording studio and let me go in there and sing these songs. You'll be hearing this, it'll take a while to get them processed until they're ready to distribute, but we laid down the basic tracks today. So.
Call the name out loud. Bodhisattva, call the name out loud.
So previews are coming attractions. So. Yeah, so that happened today. Just to share that with everybody. Appreciate our team and all the support that everybody gave to make it happen. We'll be hearing those songs as time goes on. Let's see here. We have some big events tomorrow, and I'm going to bring up Berkeley Monastery, and Jinwei Shi is going to tell us about the Great Compassion Transference, right?
Hello. Okay, so tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. we will recite Great Compassion Mantra 21 times, and we'll have some Dharma sharing and end with the transference of the monthly recitation of Great Compassion Mantra, which includes many countries and many people involved in daily to recite Great Compassion Mantra. it started in pandemic time, and that definitely the care is extended to other disasters and troubles. So tomorrow is at 6:30 a.m. Jinchuan mentioned that tomorrow is actually the ceremony of Ulambana. Do you know what's time?
Yeah,
is
at
it?
CTTB. So if you go to cttbusa.org, I believe they're going to recite the Ulambana Sutra at 8 a.m. And you can also join online. So you can go to cttbusa.org and you'll find a link that you can go to join in the ceremony.
I'm there. Where are we? Right here. There it is, right there. Live streaming on Zoom. Hey. How about that?
Schedule. You can click the schedule, Dharma Master, right above that. Yeah, and you can see that they have all their ceremonies there.
Okay.
So
There you
on the Team Ulambana, in fact, we also will have the ceremony here in this Buddha Hall at Berkeley Buddhist Monastery on Sunday. It will be next week, right here, September 3rd at 9:30 a.m. in person, and we'll also have an online participation for those who wish to connect through Zoom link. So this is 9:30, September 3rd on Sunday. And tomorrow also we have an... Dharmasa, do you want to say about tomorrow's
Yes,
7
I
p.m.
can,
concert?
Definitely, yeah. So, two big events tomorrow. We've got our Grace Strength Academy reunion at 10 o'clock. If folks were part of Grace Strength Academy and want to join in, please come. That'll include lunch. We're going to look at photos from the past, some wonderful photos. Nam found a trove of hundreds of photos, and I said, just boil them down to 20. He said, no, they're all good. You can't do 20. You got to come and see them. So okay. Then at 7 p.m. tomorrow night, we have a concert. It's the end of summer, Berkeley Monastery Buddhist Song Circle concert. 5 musicians, including James Barris, Eve Decker, Betsy Rose, Alan Sanaki, myself. Each of us sharing a number of songs and inviting everybody to sing along. Let's see here. There will be songbooks handed out so you can follow the lyrics. And it's this is kind of the first time since COVID. First time in almost 3 years that we've had a gathering where we've invited all of Berkeley in. And people, as you know, getting the invitation to come back together in person, we do it. And COVID is out there. It really is. Buddha Root Farm, we had 3 cases. So we're going to encourage people, should they care to do so, to mask up. We will have some quality masks. If you want to test before or after or during the concert, you can test. It's not 15 minutes yet. No. So, because you get to have that many people together in a closed space twice tomorrow. Tomorrow, lunch, and then again. So, we will keep the Dharma protectors and the gods and the dragons busy protecting us from COVID, and hope that works. So that's kind of the way it is. We have to kind of get to know this new. Here we go. This is on the Song Circle concert will be broadcast on YouTube. So people who are listening online right now can go out to Berkeley Buddhist Summer Song Circle, Evening of Dharma Music. So that is out there. Those of you who can do YouTube, and our Chinese translators are saying, go here, go to Facebook. Facebook works. here is a link. Very beautiful poster. Appreciate putting that together. Thank you all for your kindness. It looks very nice. Here is, it's out on Instagram, Dharma Radio Music, right there. Okay, so that's going to happen tomorrow. And it should be a wonderful event. And we'll just try our best to keep the COVID bug down. Okay, any more to share on that?
Yeah, and also this concert, this musical circle will be, would be the part of the tomorrow's CTTB lecture, right? That will be also streaming on City of 10,000 Buddhas.
Actually, that's not going to happen.
That's going to happen?
That has changed, yeah.
Ah, that has changed. Okay. So, never mind.
Never mind. Scratch that one.
Never
Scratch
mind.
what, Dharma Master? I wasn't listening. All right.
You can change the channel called Dharma Around Life and
There you go. Back to
enjoy
Dharma.
fully. And maybe one announcement for those of you who are here. We want to ask to move all the red chairs, and because there's so many of us, we can very fastly, as you know, set up everything for tomorrow. So those who have, of course, it's pretty late, so those who want to leave, no problem, but those who want to give a hand, we can set up whole space together. And I think this is it, right? And Dharma Master, September 3rd, it will be your last day.
Yes,
right,
for a while.
For a while.
Last day in person. I hope it's not my last day.
Last day in person, of course.
And just be clear. Yeah.
Although everything's uncertain. It could be our last day, too.
You never know.
Never know.
That's
Maybe
right.
this is the last day.
Dedication of merit. Please send out your wish. Here we go. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and one. May all become compassionate and one. Also, we might mention before we bow that those of you who are coming tomorrow, because you are home team and you know the way we do things, there will be lots and lots of new folks tomorrow who are not familiar with Berkeley Monastery, and we would be very grateful if you would step right up and welcome people, and if you see anything going on that strikes you as questionable, for example, the shoe rack. every now and then shoes tend to walk away. It's funny. Without their owners. Yeah. So if you just, there will be, some of you have already got jobs for tomorrow, so don't hesitate, don't feel shy. You're the home team. You are the hosts. The guests are coming. So.
And Dharma said, you remember when we have one event with Alan Sonoki, and in the end, he find out that he lost his shoes. Someone took at his shoes. So we have to take our clippers and return to Zen Center without shoes.
Shoeless Joe.
So sometimes it happens, something like that. So watch out.
Watch out. Okay, we can bow to the Buddhas together. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. All right. Good night, everybody. Many hands, light work, getting the chairs out. Amitofo.
So maybe first we remove